Lyrical lines from the gates of the dawn, new routes to the Elysian experience. Bill the Quill. An ode to trees who trail their leaves. See there, the willow has the right idea, to waste the very least part of the year. Of all the trees that are not evergreen, the weeping willow is for me the queen. The first in leaf as days start growing long, the last to drop them when the summer's gone. Nor dark nor sombre like the pine or yew, but bright and tender, seeming fresh and new. As primroses the lower verge delight, and hawthorn makes the midway hedges bright, the weeping willow greens the upper height. Long months before the stalwart mighty oak from his long leafless winter sleep awoke, Queen Willow donned her graceful summer cloak. Let we ourselves just so in every way endeavour not to waste a single day. We merely need sometimes a little spur, so let these words your motivation stir. My gladness of the birch I also wish to share, that slender goddess of a tree. Her shower of silken hair moves in a swish that stirs in me a mystic reverie, as turns this verdant grassy leaf-fringed glade into her sacred grove, and I her priest, mid frison in the dancing dappled shade, call druids, bards, and ovates to the feast. But let us now the details try to trace. The little leaves' heart-shaped, serrated trail along each pliant twig to form a spray that's bright and airy, made with measured grace. Cascading sprays together form the veil that by the gentle breeze is set to sway. Her stretch of sky she turns to shimmering show, and whispers summer's secrets soft and low. The green umbrella. Now April's flowers are everywhere, a-fluttering on the breeze, like petticoats hung out upon the line. But cast thy green umbrella, cast it wide, ye lofty trees, for cometh now the light of summer-time. Soft dappling be upon mine eyes, not this unfiltered beam. Consider, I from winter just awoke. Consider too the salmon fry within the purling stream. Throw shade upon the waters of the brook. But meanwhile play the eastern flute and weeping violin, to cast a shade of gentle sombre calm, and thus the brazen fire of spring will find its tempering, as zen-like moods provide the needed balm. On fine fellows and expeditions. So let's not waste the greening year, but often venture out. Adventures in the countryside must be what life's about. A feature of the human creature is the hunting band. It's in our bones to leave our homes and venture across the land. My thankfulness I thus express for fine co-roving chaps, for crazy missions, expeditions, routes drawn out on maps. It makes me glad to think we've had high times on summer days, while sometimes hiking, sometimes biking ancient sacred ways. From Shepton down to Claston town we walked in fasted state. We camped the night, and at first light we danced to celebrate. We joined the flow of Beltane's show with dragons red and white. The sun was freed because indeed the red one won the fight. Reliving all with fond recall, I clearly still remember how we liked it when we biked through Hengeweld last September. Come 5 of May, the Collier's way, we'll bicycle to Frome. Till then we wait, anticipate what cannot come too soon. The curse of the Collier's way. The folks round here are wont to say, beware, beware the 5th of May, for every year upon that day old timer Jed comes out to play. 'Twas on this day, old folk relate, the Collier's train was running late. The driver cries, accelerate. She starts to sway, then spills her freight. Old Jed could not accept his fate, so every year upon this date, old Bertha tries to haul those crates, and still Jed cries, "Accelerate!" They changed the tracks to a cycleway, the mine's closed down, but not old Jay. He rides out rattling anyway, in old iron Whistler Bertha May. You'll swear you saw old Bertha tow her freight and heard her whistle blow, but then you're told it can't be so, there's been no line since long ago. I rode that train just yesterday, says someone, then his face turns grey, to see the station's disarray, all overgrown with weeds and hay. So folks round here are wont to say, beware, beware the 5th of May, for every year upon that day, old Timer Jed comes out to play. As others say, his stone's right there. Look, here lies Jedediah Blair, taken up to the good Lord's care. The first lot say, e'en so, beware. The others say, just like we said, the papers certify he's dead. The first lot say, with eyes adread, we fear that weren't the last of Jed.
Ode to Space Dub on a Fasting Evening. Well, we failed to get filled up today with much food, and yet now as we settle this failure feels good, as the sight of the slow sinking sun sends a sign to relinquish our tools and relax and resign, to let go of our goals and our aims for the day. We can loosen our hold, let it flutter away, take the weight off your feet, take the weight off your mind, leave endeavours unfinished, let thought patterns unwind. Still relaxed if thoughts fly off before they complete. Still relaxed if they spiral, dissolve or repeat. Lack of food leads to action beneath the high sun, and yet now as it's setting, forgetting feels fun. For now thoughts are just playthings that dance in the head. We've not had that much food, but we're filled up instead with the colourful soundscapes of Space Dub you see. If you're fasting at evening time, this sets you free. Watch those riffs as they fly off before they complete. Still relaxed as they spiral, dissolve or repeat. As they splash in the zen space where empty is good, we relax in our sleep place in leisurely mood. Every wave of forgetting that washes on through is a balm for our brain cells, refresh and renew. So by dawn we will waken for wonderful things, but for now we bed down and surrender to dreams.
Second Sandal's song, Where Has Tuto Gone? Scant calories I've taken in for 36 hours, fine-tuning all my senses and upgrading certain powers, for reasons that reside within the history of our kind. 'Twas empty times in which we needed skills to seek and find. How must it be to track a trail? I would that I were shown that state of deep engagement when we're fully in the zone. So as I venture out today, I take no normal stroll. I call my inner tracker, and in play I play the role. As I go out this summer morn to trot upon the strand, I see another Sandal fellow's print upon the sand. I see that too companion Pad has walked there at his side, and left his mark since last there came the clearing of the tide. I'll follow where first Sandal went, and he of wagging tail, if only for the fun I find in following a trail. Yet there is just one thing this Sandal really wants to know. Which way, oh please just say, which way did Tuto go? I scan the ground and search to see the mark that gives the proof. The quest begins when once we spy the two-toed cloven hoof. As if in tale Arthurian, the magic heart pure white allures us ever onward through the dappled greenwood light. As I trot out this lovely morn, one thing to me is clear, that whether he wears spiral horns or antlers of the deer, Tuto must be my totem. So before ebb turns to flow, which way, or please just say which way did Tuto go? Small talons came and went, I see, and no legs spewed his cast, but these are not for me today. I shrug and trot on past, For there is but one thing I ask, if you would be so kind, please tell me whither Two-Toe wandered, if you wouldn't mind. If only I could conjure by the softly whispering shore the emblems that ignite my blood, the magic Two-Toe spore, that pebble dark and round beside the sparkling salty pool, do I but dream, or is that really Two-Toe's sacred stool? As I trot out this lovely day, one thing to me is clear, that whether he wear spiral horns or antlers of the deer, Two-Toe must be my totem. So before the shadows grow, which way, oh please just say, which way did Two-Toe go? Toe Postscript, if ever the herds return, a free verse interlude. This will be an excellent vantage point, if ever the herds return. We shall be waiting, I and wolf and eagle. We shall see the herds sweep in once more on the wide plain that stretches between this southern edge of the Cotswolds and the far ridge of the North Wessex Downs, rising as it does to form the austere southeastern horizon. Where are the herds now? Did some angry god or greedy giant lock them up in a cave in the Black Mountains, far west of the Severn? Will some hero one day effect their release? Will some Odysseus with sharpened olive-wood spear roll back the stone? I shall be here, sitting, carving out in relief a deer on the face of a limestone slab, or painting a bison in ochre on a rock shelter's natural wall, passing the waiting time. I shall see them if they come, sweeping through, if ever the fences fall. Now we have shopping centres and car parks, housing estates and farms, but this will be a fine viewing place, if ever the mighty wheel of the great migration moans back into motion, shaking off the stiffness of millennia, as the herds sweep over the plain below, as they once did before the farmers came. I watch, never entirely without anticipation, alert to the possibility of bison, of aurochs, and the rest, behind every copse, bush, and oak. At least the great herd of stars still circles around in their annual course on the dark plain in the upper land. If ever they set foot on the lower ground again, this will be a good place to see their distant arrival, steaming, stamping, lowing, rutting, with the young frolicking around their heels, dancing in the rain in celebration of the tender new shoots, if ever the herds return. The fruit that ripens not.
One morn, into a castle square, sat high upon a jet-black mare, a handsome knight with auburn hair came in at sprightly trot. He held his comely head up proud, and rode on through the gathered crowd, and then, to speak to them out loud, he rode onto the mott. I seek the fruit of bright perfume, that lightens e'en the darkest gloom, and guards us from an early tomb. Thus spake brave Lancelot. The sweetest of the fruits is sour, when comes the deathly ripening hour. It ripens not, but keeps its power, the fruit that ripens not. Perhaps he hoped some page would heed the call, but no one felt the need, and so the knight half wheeled his steed around upon the spot. And soon to Tir na Nog was gone. He found an orchard where there shone the real glow of Avalon, forever free from rot. He seeks the fruit of bright perfume, that lightens e'en the darkest gloom, and guards us from an early tomb, the fruit that ripens not. The sweetest of the fruits is sour, when comes the deathly ripening hour. It ripens not, but keeps its power, the fruit that ripens not. He takes his bag of woven flax, he plucks the fruit and fills the sack, and swiftly brings the harvest back to high-towered Camelot. The people eat the fruit entire, e'en pith and peel, and round the fire they dance, and joy flows through the shire of comely Camelot. We eat the fruit of bright perfume that lightens e'en the darkest gloom, and guards us from an early tomb, the fruit that ripens not. The sweetest of the fruits is sour, when comes the deathly ripening hour. It ripens not, but keeps its power, the fruit that ripens not. The dancing ends in bliss serene, and then steps forth our graceful queen, and on her high-held hand is seen the fruit that ripens not. The mystic fruit there softly gleams, reflecting all their dearest dreams, and silent sacred wonder teems through all of Camelot. We eat the fruit of bright perfume that lightens e'en the darkest gloom, and guards us from an early tomb, the fruit that ripens not. The sweetest of the fruits is sour, when comes the deathly ripening hour. It ripens not, but keeps its power, the fruit that ripens not. And so, from age and illness free, from here unto eternity, he drinks the juice of the lemon tree, and mixes it with matcha tea, a potion for serenity, and sometimes eats the peel, but he is careful here, because you see, high oxalates can hurt the knee. But fermentation can degrade these oxalates, so in the shade he sits in the Elysian glade, and sips fermented lemonade, and fasts 1 day in every 3, then 1 in 4 alternately, with Fisher King for company, our brave Sir Lancelot.
Lemon Quest Postscript to a Lemony Wipe. Many thank yous for Lemony Wipes. They're as fresh as the dew on the rose. So go on, take a sniff of that heavenly whiff. Lean right back with it spread o'er your nose. Ode on returning home. When work is done, thoughts turn to home's warm glow. Behind me has now closed the office gate. Bright images shine forth that lift me so. Familiar smiles of little ones who wait. And onward leaps my heart to say to them that I am well on my way, and echo back the joyous radiant cheer. Returning is a treasured thing that makes my soul and spirit sing, for they to me are infinitely dear. This love must be the fire that warms the tale of he who journeyed far on leaving Troy, and neither towering wave nor raging gale the will to reach his loved ones could destroy. Nor could the lulling lotus flower, with all its hedonistic power, obliterate the thoughts of wife and child. Nor could the cyclops rude and strong, nor sirens with their luring song, prevent him reaching his beloved isle. The old savannah tribes would send a band of huntsmen ranging far in search of prey, by reading clues laid down by hoof in sand, to guide them on for days upon their way. Until at length the prize attained, they yearned to see those who remained in camp awaiting that long hoped for sign. When finally the group they spy, across the grassland wild and dry, their hearts explode for joy, and so does mine. Ode on Home, Postscript, the Tree of Initiates. A living vision stood in front of me. With myriad of blossoms, 'twas a tree, the tree of those raised to a high degree, initiates of Hestia's mystery. And every flower a personality, and every cluster was a family, that once on earth had shared their food and home, and still one flow of sap fed every bloom. And no one on this tree was left alone, for all were joined, yes, each and every one, to that same twisted trunk so thickly grown. The vision stayed a while and then was gone. Garden of the Dewdrop Rose Prescript, Myth of Origin, Part 1. In former time the folk of early days danced freely even in another's gaze, but current folk are painfully aware to dance when sensing someone else's stare. So rows and rows of roses rose the sacred dance ground to enclose, that we might focus only on our trance, just as the bowers of thorny scrub make havens for the turtle dove, well hidden from the eagle's piercing glance. The rose that's pruned. The body is an orchard growing roses, vines, and apple trees. The benefit is great in knowing how to tend to these. The rose that's pruned more brightly blooms, cut back to bud of outward face, so fasted exercise makes room, gives healthy growth some space. Cut out the deadwood where it's hiding, in the tangle neath the leaves, by letting fasted dawn dance step between the fruit trees weave. The orchard is a dancing ground, come dance at dawn in empty state, in this rejuvenation's found, good cause to celebrate. The Garden of the Dewdrop Rose. Set back beyond the world of toil, there is a dancing ground, encircled by a mighty wall of trance-inducing sound. There is a garden in this place, within the fortress wall, where anxious thoughts of status never enter in at all. The rose's thorny briar locks the beasts outside by night. Our torches make them cower with their flaming firelight. All those who want to enter pass a gate of lofty spire, for only those who fast and cast their thoughts into the fire. The dew-bejewelled roses climb and form a fine arcade. Come day they sweeten all the air and make a dappled shade. The Mabon child, imprisoned long by heavy iron chain, is woken by the freedom song to dance and play again. A wren in a rosebush sings so sweet, its trills thrill all the bower. This aria seems a glorious treat to grace the morning hour. The Garden of the Dewdrop Rose, Postscript 1, Myth of Origin, Part 2. The Garden of the Dewdrop Rose, Postscript 1, Myth of Origin, Part 2. In days gone by, a group of thirsty youths advanced at speed towards the nearest water source. They suddenly upon a merry revel chanced and changed their course in trance. They reached the dancing ground with roses all around, where all the muses danced within the roses' shade. They then commenced to make some instruments to shake, and these they played. They danced and shook their shakers, but no water drank. Each left upon the floor their empty cup. They danced through all the day, and when the great orb sank, they shriveled up and shrank. Forgetful of their thirst, they brought themselves a curse, transformed into that insect that forever sings beneath the scorching light, and through the starry night it scrapes its wings. As dawnlight slowly o'er the well-trod dance ground crept, near death the insects made their sound no more. The very roses looked on as they fitfully slept. The roses saw and wept. The rose tears made a dew with power to renew The drops of sap along the leaves serrations ranged. Then waking from their nap, cicadas sipping sap their life regained. The rose dew gave these insects power to conjure drowse and bring us close to sleep to free the mind. They radiate this power through their hypnotic noise that we may find our muse. In hazy afternoon, retiring to our room, we reach the physic garden through siesta's gate, and here we may proceed our vision's precious seed to incubate. Thus was this insect made an intermediary between mind and muses through the shaking air, a pulse that lulls us into drowsy reverie, where we from care are free. This was the first occasion of rose-leaf dawn guttation, and roses still weep dew in the right circumstance, and still rose-petal tease a fitting way that we may end the dance. Rose Garden Postscript 2. Waggle Dance. Directions to the Garden of the Dewdrop Rose. I feel I may have learnt at last why spring must come so slow, that we don't celebrate something which in short time will go, but find the deeper blooming that will never pass away. It never left, and through the dark was with us every day. No matter what the season in the world of sense-known things, let's celebrate the wonder of a bloom that ever springs. Enjoy the spring of senses as but one part of the year, content to let the wheel spin round in neither hope nor fear. So never let me hear you say it's miserable today. The weather may be cold and grey, but me, I feel okay. Besides, do you not know about the way to Elysian time, that space within achieved through trance with ever summary climb? Do you observe the buzzing thing meandering through the skies, upon a quest across the fields to find a long-sought prize? He searches hedges down below, he searches them above, for nectar of an amber rose, ambrosia of love. Shall I perform my waggle dance to show you what I've found? A place where liquid nectar flows in golden founts abound. Watch closely as my steps acquire more lilt with every lap, but mostly it's the gestures and the face that share the map. See here, right now, and mark the secret that the eyes confide. As if a revelation dawns, they start to open wide. Now the lips most subtly seem to mouth a silent yeah, at which I'm even more enthused and leap and punch the air. Come see the joyful waggle dance and mirror what you see. Come see me dance the journey and then move in sympathy. I'll show you to the secret garden of the dewdrop rose, where nature springs immaculate and nectar freely flows. I feel I may have learnt at last why spring must come so slow, that we may contemplate the deeper meaning of the show.